Survivor has been going on for 50 seasons, and over the course of all those seasons, many conspiracy theories have popped up. Some seem wildly untrue, some seem plausible, and some are absolutely verifiable fact. I asked you all for the most popular conspiracy theories here on YouTube a little while ago, but I am open to exploring more. Just comment them below. With that, let's start with number 1. Production manipulated Dirk and Sean into voting off Stacy to keep Rudy in the game. Survivor is a game show and falls under game show regulations as a result, but it is a show that has been on for 26 years, run by humans. Things are bound to happen, intentional or not. I say this because we must start this video with the mother of all verifiable conspiracy theories that affects the rest of those in this video. In season 1, and I did make an entire video about this huge event, but back in season 1, Stacy was voted off in episode 3. She files a lawsuit against Survivor, accusing Mark Burnett, the creator of the show, saying he influenced Dirk and Sean behind the scenes to get her voted off instead of who was supposed to be voted off, Rudy, who he knew was important to keep older viewers watching the show. She asked for $5 million. CBS responded to this by saying, and I quote, "We heard about Stacey Stillman's allegations several months ago. They had no merit then. They have no merit now that she has packaged them into a frivolous and groundless lawsuit." As it turns out, Sean goes on record to say, "Oh, this never happened," ruining one witness Stacy had. But Dirk does go on record to say, "This did happen." Mark Burnett then countersues Stacy for $5 million to try to scare her. The court throws out his countersuit, but lets Stacy's lawsuit continue, meaning she has a case. Dirk then spills the beans on everything with a 205-page deposition. Yeah, you better believe I read that. Basically exposing Mark Burnett for manipulation to try and keep his favorite Rudy in the game. Then, like magic, after this deposition, the case is settled out of court. Oh, what are the odds? There are so many more details than that. This was the condensed version, but you get the idea. Either Mark Burnett was guilty and he nor the show wanted the bad PR to continue, or he wasn't guilty and again, they didn't want the bad PR. Based on my extensive research on this topic, I would say that it appears that Stacy was probably right about this, and the show basically did rig the vote to get rid of her. Many years later, another player on the season said, and I quote, "Mark started making moves of his own, some of them blatant and some a bit more covert. Some of these moves directly led to Stacy getting voted off. If people would have known all the shenanigans that were pulled between first season production and cast, they would be shocked." So what changed after season 1? Why did I lead the video with this conspiracy theory? It's because there are now people mandated to be on the island to make sure the game is fair, and the people who work on the show are no longer manipulating players. But what do you think? Was Survivor guilty or innocent? Number 2, in season 24, One World, Bill Posley chucked Colton's immunity idol into the ocean, and as a result, Bill was disqualified from the game, and that is why the men's tribe volunteered to go to tribal council to vote him out. So here's a conspiracy that has grains of truth, because that's a conspiracy theory. You don't see it on the show. I mean, you do see the men's tribe volunteering to go to tribal, but that's not why it said it on the show. So what part of the conspiracy is likely true? Well, Colton himself said, and I quote, "I had hidden my idol in Samoa and Bill dug it up and threw it out to sea. I didn't know who did it at first and I threw a fit." Production basically pulled everyone aside one by one and went on a scavenger hunt to find it. Production was questioning Bill, and then about 30 minutes later, production returned with my idol. When Bill threw my idol in the ocean is when I started hating him, but we were told we couldn't discuss it on camera, and everyone was to act like it never happened because it's against the rules to take someone's idol no matter where it is. Okay, so according to Colton, Bill threw his idol into the ocean, and yeah, I can believe that. Colton seemed to hold all the cards on his tribe due to his idol, and with so many players in the cast seemingly having little knowledge on how to play Survivor itself well, I mean, I could see this rule being broken. However, was Bill disqualified as a result? I don't think so. I think Colton was very controlling and demanding, and he pushed his will upon everybody, saying, "I don't care if we want immunity, we're going to tribal because we need to vote off Bill because I hate him." And for those who are unaware, this is the Bill and Colton that we saw on Survivor. Here's an example of it.
Yes, I did go to a private, like, all-white school, but I do have, like, African-American people in my life.
Who?
My housekeeper.
So, I mean, like, that just put us on a weird vibe from day one.
But she's like a member of our family. Like, she's...
A paid member?
Yes. I mean, you know, yeah, she doesn't work for free. Like, don't live off the kindness of others.
Are you out of your mind? Bro, you haven't worked an honest day in your life or had to actually go out and get a job.
The players let that happen, and then they still went with Colton and voted off Bill because that is what he wanted, and they were scared to turn on him due to his idol. But what do you think? Did the show disqualify Bill and therefore he had to be voted off, or did that not really happen? Do you want to tell me what videos I should make? Well, the patrons on Patreon picked this video, and you can pick what I make too. You also get to watch everything I make up to 7 months early and join our Survivor Fantasy League. If you're interested, then there's a link in the description. Thank you for your support. Now with that, number 3, in season 39, Island of the Idols, there is a conspiracy theory out there that Jack was placed onto the jury because production knew at some point they would need to remove Dan from the game. What does this mean? Well, Dan Spilo from episode 1 was being inappropriate with women, and by the end of the season became the very first, and as of the time of this video, only player to ever be forcibly ejected from the game. Very minimal information is given to us as to why he was ejected, but basing it off of what we saw from Dan in this season, I can say it was well warranted. From the time in episode 1 all the way up through episode 12, Dan was apparently being inappropriate with women all season long. I can understand the show seeing this need to happen, meaning ejecting him, but not being allowed to do so until a certain threshold is reached. So how does Jack equate into this? Well, for some strange reason, despite not making the merge on a non-Edge of Extinction season, he was on the jury. What? I know, this had not occurred since 19 seasons prior, back on Heroes vs. Villains, when the merge was much later than usual. But on this season, the merge happened at the regular time it always does. With Jack on the jury and Dan removed, the jury reaches its usual number of people that the show had been doing in this era, with 10. Now, unlike the last 2 conspiracies in this video, I have no evidence to support this except someone on Reddit who stated, and I quote, "From what I've heard, Jack was originally meant to join the rest of the pre-merge boots. However, production decided to include him on the jury at the very last minute. Production was apparently acting super shifty, and the other pre-mergers were moved to a separate resort before flying out to Brisbane for the trip." Basically, what I've heard is that production were aware of the multiple complaints about Dan and had planned for him not to appear on the jury upon being voted out. When it became apparent he was being taken to the end, knowing he wouldn't receive any votes, production pulled him from the game. So I don't know, take that for what you will. Is this conspiracy true, or is it just made up? Number 4, season several Pearl Islands has a conspiracy theory that Lil Morris was voted back into the game out of spite. What does this mean? Well, season 7 saw the crazy Outcast twist have 2 people who were voted out of the game come back into the game with a vote mid-season. And boy, oh boy, the controversies around this are vast. But let's focus on that vote, because the people who had already been voted out of the game got to vote 2 of their own back into the game. Burton got back in, which made complete sense. He carried, and I do mean carried, the Outcast tribe to victory and seemed the best suited to have a chance at winning, plus he was well liked. But when it came to their second selection, they chose Lil. But why Lil? Why her? Why would anyone vote Lil back in when seemingly no one liked her? Bingo. That's it. No one liked her. As stated on the official Survivor DVD of Pearl Islands.
They tell her what to say. I'll say one thing here, and that's it. Nicole and Michelle hated Lil so much, they both wrote her name down because they didn't want her to ruin their vacation.
No. So basically, Michelle and Nicole didn't want to go back in the game. They just wanted to go on vacation.
What Nicole, and they showed it on the outtakes. Nicole holds up Lil's card and says, "Lil, I'm voting for you because I can't stand you. I know I'm not going back in the game, and I don't want to travel with you. So I want to be as far from you as possible. So I hope you go back in."
Wow.
Yeah, and so later I said,
and Michelle did the same thing.
That's brutal.
That is right. Lil was voted back in because the other pre-jurors didn't want to hang out with her while they were on their pre-jury trip. And I thank them, because Lil was a chaotic player who made the second half of the season amazing. Number 5, let's stay on that Outcast twist because despite the fan base being split down the middle on loving it or hating it, rumor has it that the twist was invented during the game. That is right, rumor says this twist was not planned before the season started, but instead invented on the fly. This is back when Mark Burnett, yes, the guy who got sued earlier in this video, was in charge of making the decisions, and even back then, the host of the show, Jeff Probst, hated the twist. More on that later. So why does this conspiracy exist? Well, the show never tells the players or us about the twist during the season. In fact, everything on season 7 happens exactly like it does on the past 6 seasons of Survivor. 2 tribes, they compete in a challenge, and that losing tribe goes to vote off a player. In every episode, that player gets voted off, gets to talk to us about what their final parting words are. Nothing out of the ordinary, everything is business as usual. That is until this bombshell dropped on TV as an advertisement before the episode aired.
Something amazing is happening on Survivor. Something that's never happened before.
It's the game to end all games.
The tribes will face their worst nightmare.
Your past has come back to haunt you.
Survivors voted out are coming back.
No way.
He's ready to kill.
And wait till you see how they changed the game. Don't miss the episode everyone will be talking about.
You may be going home.
Catch an all-new Survivor, CBS Thursday.
But why do people think this twist was not planned out ahead of time? Well, here's what Jeff Probst revealed a few years ago about the twist and why to us, the audience, it sounds like this was not planned out and probably should have been stopped by the people who ensure the game plays out fairly for everyone.
There's 2 that we did that I didn't like. I'm realizing how this is going to sound. Neither of them were really ideas I wanted to do or my ideas. They were both Mark's. But one was we did this thing where we brought back people, we called them the Outcasts, and we voted people out. They went to a hotel and ate and had a shower. And then Mark said, we should just bring them back. That would blow their minds. And all of us were like, but that's fundamentally wrong. And we did it. It was criticized. And I've said, like, man, I'm no genius. I didn't think it was a good idea.
So what do you think? Was the Outcast twist invented mid-season or was it planned before but poorly planned out? You tell me. Number 6, season 21 Nicaragua saw Sash lose to Chase and Fabi on the final 3, receiving a big fat 0 votes and generally being hated on by everybody. But why? Well, the conspiracy theory is that he tried to bribe Jane, a juror, to help with her mortgage. And when she told the other jurors about this, they all turned on him and made sure Fabio and Chase were 1st and 2nd place and Sash finished as low as he could. Is this true? Well, Marty, a juror on the season as well, did say on the Survivor Reddit 6 years ago that there is no truth to this, but here's what Jane herself said in an exit interview at the time of the season. She said, because of an incident that happened that night prior to Tribal Council, I can't talk about it, but I was saying you guys are making a big mistake. I'm writing his name down, even though I know he has an idol, because he is a big rattlesnake. And if y'all don't know it, you know it now. I'm not wasting my vote on Holly. What is the incident and why do people assume it has to do with Jane and her mortgage? Well, a user online with inside connections reported Jane accused Sash of offering to pay off her mortgage in exchange for her vote and influence with the jury on his behalf. When she said this, Jeff ordered the cameras to stop rolling and called in the producers. They discussed this for about 10 minutes and resumed filming without giving any instructions to the jury or the remaining players. In other words, they left it as a he said, she said situation. So do you buy this conspiracy theory or is this incident something else entirely? Number several, season 8 All-Stars has a conspiracy that the show rigged the second tribe swap, and so far, this is the conspiracy that has me asking the biggest question we all could be asking. Why? Why would the show do this? Well, first, let's look into this. What is the conspiracy exactly here? A little while back, Jerry Manthe, a player on the season, claimed that the second tribe swap of this season had the show stacking the buffs in the urn, so there was only an illusion of choice instead of an actual random draw. However, I counter this with why? The show let them line up however they wanted. In fact, you can see it on the show. Jeff says, go ahead, line up in whatever order you want. I don't really care. And the way the tribes end up being split, I don't see why the show would want that, especially considering it caused Boston Rob and Amber to split up. I don't buy the show rigging it, but maybe I'm alone. What do you think? Number 8. Season 28 Kagayan saw the mystery of Weasel Woo. In episode 1 of this season, Tony calls Woo a weasel, but nothing in the episode indicates why. In fact, we never see or hear why he's given this name all season. People just kind of say it, and we're supposed to accept it. Hence the real conspiracy theory. Apparently, Wu was called a weasel because he stole items from production when they were not paying attention and got away with it. That's the rumor. So is it true? As Trish, a fellow player on the season, said afterwards, Wu's a really nice guy, but I never trusted him. I always thought he was a bit of a weasel. He had done some things at the beginning of the game that led him to being very untrustworthy that they didn't show on camera. There are certain things I just can't really talk about that would give you an example, but I can't because it's behind the scenes and I'm not allowed to. But there were things that happened that I can't discuss that led me to believe that he is very untrustworthy. Okay, so that tells us that he did something, but what was that something? Again, how did we get to the point where he stole items from production apparently? Well, finally, after years and years of speculation, like 7 or 8 years afterwards, Cass finally drops the bomb. She was also on the season when she stated Wu was a recruit who stole from production. He took Trish's meds. He wasn't winning. Medicated mouthwash or something he was using to clean his mouth. You can imagine how livid she, Trish, was. She may have disliked me, Cass, but I didn't take her stuff. There is a med box in case people need things. Initials are used to market, limited quantities, off limits. Hot dang. This is one of those rare times where we as an audience speculate something and then years down the line, someone confirms what we knew was true all along, but with more details. I love it. So what do you think? Is Cass lying or is Weasel Wu really a thief? Number 9, in season 13 Cook Islands, the Raro tribe has 8 people and Aitu has 4. Considering this season is the race divided tribe season, Raro, being stronger and seemingly run by the white people, had CBS worried. What if a white person wins the season divided by races? That might be a bad look. So in episode 11, a twist is introduced, the bottle twist. Whichever tribe loses immunity has to vote off someone at tribal and then open the bottle to reveal the twist. Well, thankfully for the show, Raro loses immunity, the tribe run by the white people, so they vote someone out and then they open the bottle which says, vote someone else out right now. Basically a double boot. This significantly helps the smaller Aitu tribe. So what is the conspiracy theory about this bottle then? Many believe there were 2 bottles. The one we saw opened was intended for Raro, but had Aitu gone to tribal, many believe the bottle would have been swapped out at some point without anyone knowing, like there was a couple people behind the scenes who were in on this and no one else. And in that bottle would have been something favorable to Aitu, like the person they voted off comes right back in the game, or the merge happens right then and there. At the end of the day, this is all just us fans speculating because nothing has ever been leaked about this. And in the 20 years since it happened, I don't think anything is going to be leaked. But what do you think about the bottle twist? Is it legit or are we all going crazy? Number 10, season 31 Cambodia got to see us as the fans vote for who we wanted to play again. And some people think it was rigged. In particular, how did Shane Powers, a favorite amongst online fans, lose to Jeff Varner, who had not played since season 2? And no one was even really a fan of when he did play all that time ago. I'm not sure if I buy the conspiracy that the vote was rigged. I can believe that most casual fans remember season 2 fondly and picked anyone from it no matter their name. And if they did remember Shane, who played much later than season 2, they remembered him being mean and crazy. Online fans love Shane for the drama he brings. But if you browse any Survivor social media where like regular folks comment, for example, Facebook, you get a different view entirely of what the average Joe thinks about this show. The real rigging, in my mind, was who was eligible to be voted for. If every person who had never played 2 times and wanted to play was eligible, the voting would have been wildly different. But the show picked who they wanted because they knew who was going to win the vote, if that makes sense. Well, what do you think? What other Survivor conspiracy theories should I look into? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. I'll see you all next time.